he got finally in the mail.
It's very comfy.
Aren't they? They're so comfy. But hey guys, it's Tuesday. It is Director Tuesday, our first Director Tuesday of our Oscar month. Again, we are doing Oscar nominated, I'm sorry, not even nominated, I keep saying that, Oscar winning films the entire month with the exception of one film, which will be later, and people who watch us know what that movie is.
Yeah.
But hey guys, happy to be here. Samir, how's your Tuesday going?
Oh, it's just lovely. Just I put this on for the first time today. It feels great.
Is the weather sweatshirt weather?
No, but
well, thank you for sweating.
It's not sweatshirt weather. It's been a little windy. I have to close my windows when we do this. Whenever the windows are open, like any additional sounds from outside seem to like make this feed be a little delayed. So I have to shut the windows in this room when I record in here. And it, when it's a sunny day, it holds all the heat. So if it's bright in here, that means there's sun. And yeah, the wind outside would make this appropriate. Like if I was standing outside, it would feel great. But hello from Honduras. Thank you for joining us, Alejandro.
Oh, hello. Yes. Yeah. If you haven't watched this before, go ahead and comment. If you have watched this before, go ahead and comment. We love comments. We love
comments.
We love opinions. We love knowing where people are from. Yeah. But today we will be talking about last year's Best Director winner, Mr. Bong Joon from South Korea. But before that, yesterday we talked about Mr. Jose Ferrer, who was the only Latino actor to have won Best Actor ever. To this day.
And this performance from Cyrano de Bergerac, I think, is just a triumph. This is one of the great performances in my book.
He was just, absolutely fantastic in this. I mean, we mentioned that he also had played this role on Broadway prior to being in the film, and he won a Tony for it. So he won a Tony and an Oscar for playing this.
I feel like this performance in the movie is almost like if you had seen him in the theater, you would have gotten a similar performance. It's one of those few, very rare instances where I feel like a theater or stage performance could be brought to the screen and everything that's marvelous about it translates perfectly, because all of his monologues there's so many long monologues with him, like especially his first sword fight, like before he even starts it, and he's like, the guy's like, you have a big nose, and he's like, really, that's all you've got? What about, and he rattles off like this long list of different tones in which you could deliver the insult, and then giving an example of them as he's like fighting him, and like I was just like so many times. And there's like the moment when like right after that sword fight, when he like, totally bests this dude in a theater and has this big moment, and you get this sense of what a strong, proud, incredible, person this guy is. And then he transitions so completely over to being like, I just, I don't think that any woman would really want me, even if they say they want. Like, somehow it's believable. Like, it's hard to imagine, like, after that rousing display, that you could transition into feeling sort of wounded or communicate this sort of lifetime of not feeling good enough.
I want love.
And I'm like, oh my God. But I was also amazed by, the nose. The nose is so strange.
Really good.
It looked really good. And you completely forget. It's like, that's how good the performance and how good this character is. You completely forget. You don't look at it at all. You don't even notice it. I was just like, I would date you now. Like, just always speak to me like this. Fight valiant sword fights for me. Like, I would be completely smitten with this person. But who knows how it is when you're with somebody who has like an extreme feature that's just like in your face. And like, I remember working with somebody who had a giant mole on their nose, and I could not stop staring at it every time I talked to them. And I'm like, I'm trying to be sensitive and like look right in your eyes, but I can feel my one eye like I'm like, okay, I can't do this. This is so mean. I obviously got over that, but it's like interesting. Like, we're not in a physical space with this person, so who knows how we were there. But like, I feel like I would still like be ready to run off with him for the night immediately after any of these scenes with him. He's like, I feel like it would have been such a special experience to watch this in a theater, to be in a theater and see him do this on stage. Like, I would be like breathless. Like, okay, I'm going back. I got to meet this person. I would be like one of those people with flowers and my program waiting for a signature, like from him after. This is it's just such an incredible performance. Like, just note for note, everything is pitch perfect. Like oh my god, just the best dialogue you could have for a monologue ever, and he just succeeds every single time, like beyond your wildest imagination. I even though he's killed like 10 people, by the time I'm just like he's literally killing people. That person died, that person died, that person died.
No big deal. Yeah,
Man.
this was only nominated for Best Actor, and it won Best Actor, and he is really what's holding this movie together. Overall, the movie was it was decent. Sadly, at least again, I watched this on Prime. Whatever print they had,
visual quality.
Yeah, the image quality wasn't great. So hopefully that's not like the only version of this you could watch out there. Hopefully there's a restored
hopefully
version of it. But yeah, he really was just fantastic. And yeah, I really enjoyed learning about his life yesterday. Oh, and another interesting thing. So he actually he donated his Oscar, I want to say, to a school that's in Puerto Rico. I have to double check on that, but it got stolen fairly recent, like in the last, because he won this in 1950, but in the last several decades, it was stolen. I think they were remodeling the school or something, so no one knows where his Oscar is. Yeah. But his family doesn't have it, that's for sure. But yeah, what incredible life, and we need more roles for Latino and Latina actors.
Well, really good roles, like Oscar-worthy roles, like major roles. It's amazing to think that I think people were I think his performance on stage must have been such an incredible hit for people that when they heard he was doing this movie, it was like everybody was just waiting to give him this Oscar for this performance. Yeah. And then his performance did not disappoint in the least. So I'm I don't think there was even any much of a contest. I couldn't have been for that.
I looked at I forget entirely everyone who he was up against that year, but I know other nominees that year were Spencer Tracy for Father of the Bride, William Holden for Sunset Boulevard, which with both of those, I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is well deserved. Not that they aren't bad,
not that there's anything wrong with those performances. Yeah. They're also great performances, but this is just another level that I see Owen mentioned that James McAvoy played Cyrano in a production, which would be really great. I would love to see how he handles that, because he kind of has, I can see him being both very proud and vociferous and forceful, and also being tender and wounded emotionally in a way. Oh God, but I could watch this performance over and over, and I think I did watch a couple of his monologues more than once, because they were just such thrilling pieces of acting that I had to witness them again. They were that good. I'm like, can you imagine? I would love to see bloopers from this movie too, because there's so many brilliant monologues that he delivers so brilliantly, so effortlessly, it seems. And I'm like, I can't imagine, what was the word here that's tripping him up? What is the part of this? You know what I mean? Because every actor has that thing, you're doing it, and then you keep, for some reason, there's every now and then a word that just trips you up each time. And maybe it's just trying to remember so many things. I mean,
the fact that he also did this on Broadway, where he essentially did everything in one take every night. I don't know.
So maybe he didn't even have it. There's no bad takes of him in this movie either.
I don't know. Yeah, again, the fact that he's has this great theater background, maybe he didn't, but maybe he did. Who knows? Maybe we'll never find out. But if you didn't see this movie, definitely worth watching for his performance, especially if you are an Oscar geek. And again, the only Latino actor to have won as of now.
Although hopefully that will change.
Yes.
Work needs to be done for that to change. It's not just going to happen. So
yeah,
we all got to keep pushing for the progress we want to see. Just don't sit back and hope that it'll change Of course, as much power as I have is really just complaining at people
Yeah.
on Twitter, which, I was talking to Amy about how that goes sometimes.
Yeah.
But
let's talk about last year's Best Director winner.
wait, our game. What happened to our game?
Oh, okay, we can play the game. Sorry about it.
We're supposed to play our
Let's
game first.
play that movie. Okay, so you have to try and guess what the film is based on the images. We'll do two. A slight little hint. They're both from the same year.
Oh.
Yeah, which
Okay.
might just be more of a hint for the second film, I guess. This is a pretty famous film. Also, well, this is another hint. Any Wayne's World 2 fans? They parodied this movie.
The Shinji? She's trying to give you.
Right,
there we go. Rob got it.
The Graduate. My mom has memories of seeing this movie in theaters. This came out in 1967. And she said she went with her friend and her friend's parents. And her friend's parents, I guess, were super conservative. And they were just completely scandalized by this film.
Scandalized.
Yeah. If anyone has seen Wayne's World 2.
Oh, yeah.
When he's trying to break up the wedding of Cassandra, all of a sudden, like, this little car shows up and he hops on it. And,
also, the episode of The Simpsons where Grandpa is in love with Grandpa Simpson is in love with Marge's mother.
Yeah, sorry, Rob. I know you keep wanting the Great Muppet Caper. Maybe we'll do it someday. That is one of our favorites as Muppet fans.
We do love Muppet movies.
So I mentioned this is the same year as The Graduate. I don't think I've seen this movie. So maybe this one will be a little more difficult. I don't know if Walter's watching today or if he's watching it, because I think he would definitely get this. Do you think you know, Samir?
Said it came out in 1967 also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be really embarrassed if I have actually seen this movie and I don't know this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen this. Oh, Rory got it. Cool Hand Luke.
Oh, good job.
Good job. Yeah, I have not seen this. Yeah, once again, all the images super quick. Two late 1960s classics.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for playing, and we will play again tomorrow. All right, now let's move on to Bong Joon-ho. Last year's winner of Best Director and Best Screenplay and Best Picture, and technically Best Foreign Film, although that award goes to technically the country of South Korea.
Well, also the producers of the film are the ones who take the Oscar home.
It's listed as South Korea is the winner of that category. He just blew everyone away last year with Parasite. I don't think anyone really saw this movie coming unless perhaps you had already been following his career as he was starting to get more recognition abroad.
I did. But that's because
I haven't seen his other films.
Well, I had seen a couple of his other films, but I was also at the festival where this film, one of the festivals where this film premiered, and the buzz about Parasite was instant. Like everybody who saw it, I didn't meet anybody at Telluride Film Festival who disliked the film. Everybody was raving about it. Everybody, all the people from like, studios who, pick movies up for distribution, everybody was in love with this movie. It had like that kind of like attention right away. When people saw it, it captured everybody. I don't know if it even had anything to do with his previous work. It was just that like this movie came out it just captured everybody's attention. It was so incredible that it just created this amazing wave that it rode all the way to the Oscars, which is like one of the few times I think in my life where the movie that I liked best won the Oscar for Best Picture.
Yeah,
or the director whose work I liked best that year won for Best. I was like, wow, this like hasn't happened for a while. Also, where the Best Director and Best Picture are the same film wins for both, because the last few years it's been, we'll give the movie we really think is Best Picture, we'll give that the director of that movie the award for Best Director, and then our statement win for Best Picture will be this one that we've all kind of agreed on. So that's why you had things like Alfonso Cuarón winning Best Director for Roma, I think it was last year, right? But then Best Picture was Green Book, which I'm pretty sure almost everybody agrees was not the best picture that year.
Yeah, I saw something that said like for once the Best Picture actually went to the Best Picture. Yeah, well, we'll talk more about Parasite and how incredible that movie is. But let's talk a little bit more about Bong Joon-ho. He is from South Korea. He was born September 14th, 1969, the youngest of 4 children. His father was a graphic designer and a professor. His mother was a full-time housewife. He, so he went to Yonsei University, and after that, he was part of a film program at the Korean Academy of Film Arts. He made some like 16 millimeter short films. He co-founded a little film club called, I think it was called the Yellow Door. And so I think they actually made films in the club. It wasn't just watching films. He also did like some stop motion things. When he was in college, he was working on some other films and other student films. He was super poor, which I think is something that comes into play in some of the themes of his films, including Parasite. Like some of his other students were like giving him rice, like he couldn't even afford rice. But after he graduated, he started working more in the film industry. Both for he got various credits: screenwriting, assistant directing. He did lighting technician on one film. His first feature came out in 2000 called Barking Dogs Never Bite. And that film was about a low-ranking university lecturer who abducts a neighbor's dog and was shot in the same apartment complex where Bong used to live. That did okay, but wasn't like a huge commercial success. After that, he did Memories of Murder in 2003. His films just kind of kept getting a little more and more recognition. He did The Host in 2006, and that was a huge success. A lot of
great
films became like the #1 films in Korea for a while. South Korea. I don't know if they would be allowed in North Korea.
Well, they do just call it Korea, generally, a lot of the time, and North Korea is like, that's the distinction. I've heard both, so you're not wrong.
Yeah, he did a film called Mother, which was also successful. He was starting to get more recognition at film festivals too, like being jury members and prestigious film festivals and stuff. His first English language film was Snowpiercer in 2013, as Luke had mentioned over here. That was
another great movie.
Success. I still haven't seen that one. Then he did one called Okja. Wait, is that one that was?
Yes, that's the one about the was it a rhino? Or it's sort of like a magical realist fantasy film in a way.
Okay.
Also has Tilda Swinton, who I love. She was in, I think she's in that, and she was in Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer I love because it's sort of classic Bong Joon-ho, where there's this weird blend of social realist analysis with comedy and horror. But it's like really effortlessly blended. Like he's not beating you over the head with the messages. It's just perfectly integrated into a story. The host was like both funny and a great monster horror film. So you got scares and laughs in interesting measure. They weren't, it's not, they're not predictable in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Like things don't happen. Like you can't really predict exactly where these stories are going to go, what's going to happen to even characters that you like.
Snowpiercer, that also, there's a TV series with that.
They made a TV series recently. I haven't watched the TV series.
Helped write it, or maybe he didn't direct it, but he did write it. Yeah, but Snowpiercer was huge as far as getting the international recognition. But yeah, did a few other things. Again, he writes all of the films that he works on for the most part, which is also amazing. He also has a few acting credits, which is fun. But then came Parasite, which came out in 2019. And this movie, the impact of this film, I think will just be talked about just made Oscar history on so many levels. Not just Oscar history, but a lot of just film festival history too, especially for Korea and obviously this filmmaker. But yeah, the impact of this film cannot be understated at all.
Yeah, I remember one of the people that I went to Telluride with. I go every year and stay with the same people, and the person whose family owns the little property, like we're very lucky that we can go because we have somebody who's makes a place for us to stay. And so they invited one of their other friends from film school to join them that year that film came out. And we all saw it there. Well, I actually missed it there. I couldn't make my work schedule there made it impossible for me to actually see the movie there, but I saw it in theaters as soon as it came out. But they were all, they all loved it. They saw it there. Everybody who saw it at the festival loved it. And we were talking about Oscars and stuff. They're like, oh, what do you think's going to win? And I remember saying, I'm like, I really think Parasite has the chance to be the first Asian film from an Asian country, foreign language. I really think this is the first movie that I think it can do it. I really have everything about this tide of positive reviews and energy for the film and excitement for it, and the almost total lack of like negative reviews of it. It was just like you just had that feeling about it. And I was like, I really feel like everything is like rolling in this direction. And he's like, no, it never happens. He's like, it'll never happen. It's never happened for, and I think he was Pacific Islander, an Asian American person. So he was like, from his experience, he's like, there's just no way. It never happens. They never acknowledge our movies. They don't nominate us for awards. We don't win this. And he was going off all these things. I'm like, I hear everything you're saying, but something about this movie has captured people in a way that I don't think you can apply the same rules to this. I really feel like this is going to be the one that wins and, makes history. I really felt that, and it happened. I was happy to be right. Usually I'm very upset when I'm wrong. And I was like, never happier to be, because I was also, I was like, this is how I feel, but maybe he's right. Realistically, it doesn't stand a chance. But then I saw it winning, like it won like the Directors Guild Award for, Best Director. It won Producers Guild. It was winning all the right awards. I'm like, okay, this is like a done deal. I hope that it actually happens. And then it did, and I was just ecstatic because it's a movie that like doesn't give you easy answers to a lot of things, to a lot of questions about what it means to be rich and poor, the way each views the other, like who is the real parasite in this society. Rich people look at the poor people, like these characters literally are coming up from under the ground and infiltrating high society mansion, up in the hills. And you really get that depicted visually by them trying to get there and getting back between those two locations, and just all the details about the life in each location. It doesn't make anybody out to be like, nobody's a good person. Nobody's purely bad. I like movies that have that kind of complexity with characters. And it also says something about westernizing of Asian cultures in a really subtle way, like the way in which when you acquire money and wealth, you are defining yourself by your proximity to Western styles and Western things. And that becomes another way in which you look down upon other people in your own culture who can't afford that kind of proximity to Westernness in a way. And so that feeds into it. It's such like there's so many things going on, but none of it is like dialectic or pedagogical where they're trying to teach you and he's trying to teach you a lesson with it. Like none of it. He's telling a story and understands how all these things fit together in this intersectional way. But he makes a completely surprising, like, you know, on the edge of your seat kind of movie that's half the time just dramatic and the other time is genuinely suspenseful and you're equally horrified by everyone's actions. The only really innocent people are, we will get into it, but there's only really a couple innocent people and they sort of suffer the worst of everything. It's ends up being tragic and horrifying and funny and sad. Like
this
it's
movie
a masterpiece.
really has it all. I think this is a movie that's even hard to stick into a particular genre just because it is a little bit of horror in a way, suspense. It has some laugh out loud moments. It has some heart-wrenching moments. I was definitely really happy that this won everything that it did. This and 1917 were my two favorites for last year, so it's like, okay, it's going to be one of these two. And yeah, I think people were surprised that Bong Joon won Best Director over Sam Mendes, but you know,
this win made me so much happier.
Movies. They're totally different films, so you know.
Right, and I think also the Academy probably felt like, how many times have we given Best Picture and Best Everything to war movies? Like, how many war movies are we going to give awards to? The first Best Picture was a war movie. Really like, we have a chance to. It's wonderful when there's like, you get the sense that maybe somebody thought about this a little bit more, you know, like, but also it was nice to think that, hey, all of the energy and all of the press and everything was kind of on the side of this movie. There wasn't any of the sort of casual racist, like, oh, this is good for a Korean film kind of like nonsense that you sometimes get from Hollywood people. Like, it was just like, I didn't detect a lot of that. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just like one like little bright spot in these horrible times that we're living in. Sometimes, like, we obviously have a lot of advantages, but there are a lot of things we still need to work on. But a movie like this that's really just acknowledged for what it is, like, I don't think it won because it was a South Korean film. It won because it was a great movie.
Yeah. Now people are talking about the Joker. I also really love the Joker. Samir has not seen it for personal reasons, but I don't think that should have won Best Picture, and it didn't. I do genuinely love that movie. Yeah, but Parasite was certainly the more deserving film. This, if you haven't seen this, greed and class discrimination threaten the newly formed symbiotic relationship between the wealthy Park family and the destitute Kim clan. On IMDb, this is number 30 on their top rated movies list. So pretty high up there. This movie also won best ensemble at the SAG Awards for dramatic film. And this movie wasn't nominated for any acting awards at the Oscars. So I thought that was really nice because everyone in this movie is just incredible. Stunning performances. They weren't nominated, but this was nominated, of course, winner of Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Foreign Film. It was also nominated for production design and editing. I'm assuming editing went to 1917, maybe. Yeah, but this movie is, this will be, I think, the third time I watch it.
It might be the fourth or fifth time for me.
Yeah.
Which is low, really, for movies I love, but it's a really intense story. Like I said, it has a lot of elements of humor. It really kind of pulls you in with that humor, and then it just whips out the sledgehammer and starts to like smash all of your conceptions about what this movie is going to be to pieces. I had
Mhm.
a friend who would like, it was really like the weirdest thing. She finally watched this movie. She's not the most sophisticated person I get, but like it was weird complaint where she was like, I just felt like it was predictable. Like I knew when this happened that something bad was going to happen after, and then it did. And I'm like, okay, so you're that's kind of the weakest interpretation of a story I've ever heard. But no, this movie is not predictable. You do
No,
not know.
no.
There's so many surprises of elements that you assumed were just like part of this house, and then you're like, oh, that's what's happening with that. Oh, like
Yeah.
there's even little things like that all over, and that you just things that you just accepted all the way going along until you learn where something comes from, or why something happens, or why something is the way it is, and you learn the story behind that, and you're like, oh my god! Like, and then it makes you want to watch the whole movie over again to pick
Mhm.
apart all these little things where they've tucked away these things into the screenplay and the images that are telling you very clearly, and they're not being like hidden. It's just right there. It's just so skillfully written that he completely, like, he is, what's the line from Batman Returns when the Joker, not the Joker, where the Penguin is recorded saying, I played this stinking city like a harp from hell, and I feel like Bong Joon-ho is very much playing his audience like a harp from hell. He is completely in control of us throughout this experience and delivers something truly miraculous, I think. It's so good.
Yeah.
There are moments that are just downright terrifying. Single images, you're just like, oh,
I
right after
did
you laugh.
read something that I think Parasite might be turned into a series, like a mini series.
I thought I heard rumors about that too. It
Yeah,
would
so
be
we'll see what
interesting. I'm
happens.
wondering how they would structure it. Like, are they going to structure it around that house? Is
Yeah,
that going
I
to be like
don't,
who moves in and out of the house?
at least on his IMDb, I don't see any upcoming projects listed as of now. The most recent thing would be this Snowpiercer series, which he wrote and produced. Um, but who I think everyone is eagerly awaiting his next project. And I have faith that he could potentially top this movie. You never know.
It's possible. He's like, he's like sort of in his stride. So who knows what the next film is really going to be? It could be anything, but he's one of those filmmakers that whenever a movie comes out, you want to be there for that movie. Even if it's not one of his best movies, it's still, even one of his not best will probably be so far above a lot of other Hollywood filmmakers' best work that
Mhm.
you will never be disappointed going to see one of his films. As far as I can
Yeah,
see.
I
So
really
far.
want to see his earlier films as well, just because I absolutely love this movie. So this movie is on Hulu. So give it a watch. Maybe give it 2 watches. And this is definitely a movie that should be watched more than once if you haven't
Is it
seen it
on
before.
Criterion still? I know the Criterion released a special edition of it.
Oh,
I'm going to check really quick because if it does have like a commentary track or something, definitely like try to, if you have the time, I would say dig in. I'm just going to check real quick. But if it's on there, it would be like really awesome to see if Parasite, the Criterion edition, I had to do it again because I was in the wrong spot, but Parasite, um, oh, I think they took it off. It was on the Criterion Channel streaming service for a while, and it had the whole edition, but it's gone now.
mm.
That is a bummer, but
But
if
they
you do have
do.
that,
You can get this on DVD with Criterion, right? They have a
yes, you can still purchase the special
yeah,
edition
which
Criterion,
is crazy
special
because this movie
Criterion
was
edition.
so recent, and they're just like, "Yep, this is already Criterion worthy." Putting out there.
They sometimes do that, and it makes me happy when they do because they will do the film right when they do an edition of
Yeah.
it. And I believe they did with this one. So please, 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 if you love it, consider buying it in a physical media form instead of just digitally. I'm a big fan of collecting them again. So
Yeah, this is definitely one that I do want to actually own this movie at some point. But I'll be watching it on Hulu this evening. Um, yeah, please give it a watch. Tomorrow we will be discussing the movie after the fact. I'm sure, on our this is again probably the third viewing for me. I'm sure we will still find new things to talk about that we missed the previous viewings of this film. Then we will be moving on to actress Halle Berry, the first African American woman to have won Best Actress, not supporting actress, so Best Actress at the Oscars, and that's another award that was just seemed like it's just a little too late, given how long the Oscars have been going on. But better late than never, I guess. Yeah, and maybe there will be another winner this year, and maybe Korea will be on top again this year with Minari.
We shall see.
Yeah. Anywho, please give Parasite a watch. Please check out our Patreon if you would like to contribute financially to us. We much appreciate it. That link is over in the comments. Check out our merchandise on Redbubble. Samir's showing off his sweatshirt. I've got my coffee mug, and I've got a t-shirt, and I have a refrigerator magnet and things like that. But that's on Redbubble. Just search for the Book Club for Movies, and you will find it. There we go. Send it to you right there on Redbubble.
Oh, yeah, I also got a sticker.
Oh, you haven't even opened it yet. Yeah, you get stickers, you get little pins, you get a tote bag, all kinds of things.
Actually, I don't think my sticker is in here.
What?
But my little pin was in here because I also love adorning my jackets with pins.
Yeah, they tend to send everything separately.
So maybe there's another little package with the sticker, but
I think
it's the same exact image on everything. But
thank you guys for watching.
But yeah, get some. It's comfy.
It is comfy. Yeah, I like my stuff from them. Luke, we probably will not be discussing Catwoman in depth tomorrow. That will probably be just like a slight mention, if we even give it that much credit. Sorry. She has some other films we're going to highlight. Thank you guys again for watching today. Hope you enjoy Parasite, available on Hulu, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.